Chapter 1, Part 1 of Zone Policeman 88. This is a Librivox recording. All Librivox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit Librivox.org. Zone Policeman 88, a close-range study of the Panama Canal and its workers, by Harry F. Franck. Chapter 1, Part 1. Strip by strip there opened out before me, as I climbed the 1,000 stairs to the red-roofed administration building, the broad panorama of Panama and her bay. Below, the city of closely packed roofs and three-topped plazas compressed in a scallop of the sun-gleaming Pacific, with its peaked and wooded islands to far Toboga tilting motionless away to the curve of the earth. Behind, the low, irregular jungled hills stretching hazily off into South America. On the third-story landing I paused to wipe the light sweat from forehead and hatband, then pushed open the screen door of the passageway that leads to police headquarters.
What military service have you had?
Asked the captain, looking up from the letter I had presented, and swinging half round in his swivel chair to fix his clear eyes upon me. None. No, he said slowly in a wondering voice, and so long grew the silence, and so plainly did there spread across the captain's face the unspoken question, "Well, then what the devil are you applying here for?" that I felt all at once the stern necessity of putting in a word for myself, or lose the day entirely. But I speak Spanish, and— "Ah!" cried the captain, with a rising inflection of awakened interest. "That puts another face on the matter." Slowly his eyes wandered, with the far-away look of inner reflection, to the vacant chair of the chief on the opposite side of the broad flat desk, then out the wide-open window, and across the shimmering roofs of Alcon to the far green ridges of the youthful republic, ablaze with the unbroken tropical sunshine. The whir of a telephone bell broke in upon his meditation. In sharp, clear-cut phrases he answered the questions that came to him over the wire, hung up the receiver, and pushed the apparatus away from him with a forceful gesture. "Inspector!" he called suddenly, but a moment having passed without response, he went on in his sharp-cut tones. "How do you think you will like police work?" "I believe I should." The captain shuffled for a moment one of his several stacks of unfolded letters on his desk. "Well, it's the most thankless damned job in creation," he went on, almost dreamily. "But it certainly gives a man much touch with human nature from all angles. And, well, I suppose we do some good. Somebody's got to do it, anyway." "Of course, I suppose it would depend on what class of police work I got," I put in, recalling the warning of the writer of my letter of introduction that you may get assigned to some dinky little station and never see anything of the zone. "I'm better at moving around than sitting still. I notice you have policemen on your trains, or perhaps in special duty languages would be—" "Yes, I was thinking along that line, too," said the captain. He rose suddenly from his chair, and led the way into an adjoining room, busy with several young Americans over desks and typewriters. "Inspector," he said, as a tall and slender, yet muscular man of Indian erectness and noticeably careful grooming rose to his feet, "here's one of those rare people, an American who speaks some foreign languages. Have a talk with him. Perhaps we can arrange to fix him up both for his good and our own." "Ever done police duty?" began the inspector when the captain had returned to the corner office. "No." "Military, sir?" "Not that either." "Well, we usually require it," mused the inspector slowly, flashing his diamond ring. "But with your special qualifications, perhaps, you'd probably be of most use to us in plain clothes," he continued after a dozen questions as to my former activities. "We could put you in uniform for the first month or 6 weeks until you know the isthmus, and then— Our greatest trouble is burglary," he broke off abruptly, rising to reach a copy of the Canal Zone laws. "If you have nothing else on hand, you might run these over, and the police rules and regulations," he added, handing me a small flat volume bound in light brown imitation leather. I sat down in an armchair against the wall and fell to reading amid the clickety-click of typewriters, telephone calls even from far-off Cologne on the Atlantic, and the constant going and coming of a negro orderly in shining ironed khaki uniform. By and by the inspector drifted into the main office.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?